little kids screaming out for help under rubble, and no help is coming. They sit there under the rubble.
So most people are going to follow this fool, Dave Smith, okay? And Dave Smith is part of the Joe Rogan, Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, and there's other ones in there. And their role is to take you to the bottomless pit. Just saying, you could say, oh, you're exaggerating. Yeah, would you really want to take that chance at this time in history? I wouldn't. But I absolutely know that that's what he's doing, whether he knows it or not. He seems like just an idiot, really. But he is on Rogan, just saying. Anyway. Look, Douglas Murray, who Donald Trump promoted his book. Donald Trump said Douglas Murray is a friend of his, okay? And I could see people in my comment section already, to the video I put up earlier about Donald Trump posting about Israel. Look, you're falling for the biggest trap of all with this. The biggest trap. But it tells me why early on in this whole process of making videos, I always kept being led back to the wide road and the narrow road, the wide road and the narrow road, as it talks about in the Bible, because God kept saying, more are going to go down that path. That is what you will see. If you want to be with that crew, you have a whole bunch of Americans and world people that will go, and Dave Smith, and heading this whole group up there is the fake Christian Candace Owens that will help lead you down to the path of hell. See, what nobody wants to mention here is that all of these people, everybody has always wanted to stop Israel. Israel has just wanted to get rid of the terrorist organizations. Like, take away what your feeling is about Netanyahu, okay? Take your feelings out of that. And this bullshit that we are going to be dragged into a war, that's total crap, okay? Israel has never needed our ground troops. They don't. I've said this a million times. That to say that they're dragging us into another war. No, we give them aid, though, because we don't want to see a whole entire country be annihilated. Now, clearly, Dave Smith, Candace Owens, that's really what they serve. While they carry on and use your Constitution against you. They're bastards, okay? Because this is what these revolutionary former liberals, right? But they never were former liberals. That's what their goal is, to use, no, it's free speech, I should say whatever I want. Okay, go ahead. I mean, but it's a fine line. Do you see what's happening there? There's a whole bunch of people that are damning themselves because they're determined that Israel is responsible for everything in the world, and yet nobody is smart enough to see that trap. I mean, not most people. Why do you think Donald Trump posted the book? Why do you think he said this is a friend of mine? Because what Dave Smith wants to talk about is the propaganda about these children and their heads cut off. No, the Jews' children's heads were cut off. So this propaganda that they're putting up, these videos, they're fake. If they were real, they would not be able to put them up. They wouldn't. They couldn't put what they did to the Jews because it was so bad. They decapitated their infants. Yet this happens this has happened my entire adult life. Then Israel defends itself, and then somebody tells Israel to stop, and it's usually America, because of people like Dave Smith, people like Rogan, people like Candace Owens, who never give a shit about any damn American, okay? Shit, you never see them care about America, the country, okay? They just hate America because they hate Israel. That's the thing people aren't getting here. All right? Because if you know the history of America, these are the same fools, okay? None of them Christian, right? I mean, Candace being the biggest deceiver of all, claiming her false Christian self while completely ignoring the damn religion she's in and the genocide is committed, okay? But because Israel wants to defend themselves and has had a right to their entire history, somebody always stops them. And that's what the shill Dave Smith serves. That's what the shill Rogan serves. That's what the shill Candace Owens serves, and Ian Carroll, and I could go down a list of a bunch of them, okay? That's what they serve. Recognize the days you're in. Recognize the days you're living in. Because that is their one goal. They will never stop going after Israel, and they will use your constitutional Bill of Rights against you, and they will be Americans, because we have many Americans that hate America because they hate Israel, and that's just too bad. Because if you know anything about the history, okay, with the Christian people that came here, okay, now all of these people would say what slave owners those were. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They fought against slavery. That we were founded on Christian values. That was even in a Supreme Court ruling back in like 1700 or 1800. Okay, yeah, it was in a Supreme Court ruling that we were founded on Christian values. Okay, so there's that. Then there's the fact that, see, many of those people that did flee here from England and other areas of, Scotland, Ireland, all that, that were coming here because of religious persecution. They believed that, because it talks in the Bible, it's in many places, but John 10:16, and I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. So if you know anything about all this, God weaves in the Gentiles. Again, if you don't know what a Gentile is, it's if you believe in you believe in the Bible, and you're not a Jew, then you're a Gentile, okay? So it talks in other chapters about how God weaves in the Gentiles, very much to make the Jews that are the remnant to be saved jealous, okay? That has a lot to do with it, is to get them, on board, okay? And not to go after them or persecute them, but that's what America has represented, okay? So we have stood by Israel for a reason. Every country they go into, people are always trying to annihilate them. So we give them the small piece of land. They live next to the Muslims there in the Gaza Strip for many years. And then finally Israel says, fine, you can have the Gaza Strip. We just want peace. And that's the stuff Dave Smith and the assholes in this network, this Nazi network as I call them, don't tell you, okay? Israel has given up land. They moved out of the Gaza Strip because they wanted peace. But these selfish people that wanted, I don't feel bad for the Palestinians. It's hard for me to feel bad for them. It is. I did but this propaganda that the children are under rubble and you think that's justified? Oh, shut up, Dave Smith. You're such a damn propagandist, no different than I heard 25, 30 years ago, okay? You're just a different damn face. And the comedians love to push this. They're the same deadbeats that Hollywood, they use Hollywood, they use all these people. So, look, if you want to follow this path, then I can tell you where it will end for you. I will tell you exactly where it will end, and you will regret it. Israel is not the problem. Radical Islam is. That is what the problem is here in America. It's what the problem is in Europe right now, in the UK. That is the problem. But Dave Smith and Candace Owens and the whole Nazi network group of them attacked this Douglas Murray, okay? And he knows what he's talking about, okay? Should we have gone into Iraq? No. Did I support it? Yeah, I figured Bush knew what he was talking about when he said there were weapons of mass destruction, okay? Was I led astray? Yes, it was a mistake, okay? Did we need to go to war in Afghanistan? Yes, we had 9/11. But many people were against the Iraq war, okay? From the beginning. Donald Trump was one of them, okay? I believed Bush when he said there were weapons of mass destruction. I was mistaken, okay? But here's the thing. That made everything worse to us going into Iraq, because then Iran got a hold of it once we took Saddam Hussein out, okay? Not that Saddam Hussein or his two male children were any good, okay? They were horrible people. But that said, they were somewhat of a buffer, as I've said before. Dave Smith and Rogan and Candace Owens are just useful idiots. They are your modern day neo-Nazis. They aren't going to stop. They're not going to look at how they're the hateful people. They're just going to keep going down their track. And if you want to follow that path, I will say it one last time, then you will not be happy with the end result. the end is not for everyone.